Hey, Hannah Mouse One here. Welcome to another paper mache video. In this one, I will be sculpting Ralsei from the game Deltarune, which is like the sequel to Undertale. If you haven't played it, it's a great game. I mean, I'm not usually a fan of that whole like RPG style game, but I am a fan of playing games with my friends which allow me to put on a lot of stupid voices. And Deltarune definitely falls into that camp. So, yeah. And I decided I'd sculpt Ralsei because he is a pretty interesting character visually speaking, because he has like two completely different forms. I decided to go from the form you see in chapter 2 of Deltarune, where he's the white goat bunny thing. What is Ralsei? Like, what animal is he meant to be based off of? I think goat rabbit is pretty accurate to what Ralsei is. So yeah, I start sculpting out the goat rabbit. I give it horns and a little tuft of hair as a fringe, but yeah. One of the big challenges I had to overcome with Ralsei was the fact that I had to kind of make the interpretation from 2D to 3D, and not just from 2D to 3D, from low resolution, pixelated, like almost like 8-bit character sprite to a 3D character with details, which the sprite just doesn't have. So I had to just make some guesses about like what would fill certain areas and what certain things would look like, especially in terms of the clothing, which is like Ralsei's arms really confuse me. Like, sometimes Ralsei has arms, sometimes he doesn't. Like, he doesn't have arms until he needs arms, and then he has arms. So my assumption is he always has arms. We just don't see them for reasons. I did enjoy giving him the little scarf. I thought the scarf was cute. And that's something we know he has. Yeah. I decided to give Ralsei arms because I just have to assume he has them. I wasn't really sure what to do with the outfit either, because some interpretations of it have it as a cloak that I saw, like a wizard's cape sort of thing, which is why you can't see his arms, because they'd be tucked inside. And then other versions have it as more like a dress, which is the angle I went for. Like as a robe sort of thing, rather than a cloak. Yeah. I gave him like big padded feet. One, because it was an interpretation that I saw a lot of people used, and also because the bigger the feet are, the more likely it is to balance, and I can tell you that Ralsei did balance quite nicely. So yeah, I just meld all that together, and I used this tool to blend pieces as such, and I just, whatever I do to one foot, I do to the other. These feet were actually really simple and fun to do, so yeah, I enjoyed that. And they like fit with the shape of the figure I've got, like the silhouette I've got going on here, quite nicely. Kind of fit with the bulky, almost like blocky style that I was going for. Like, he is very like chunky. It's not like slender limbs or anything. He is a block. I decided to have him holding his hat, because his hat is the sort of thing which like changes his appearance. And because I wanted to go for goat version, I didn't want him to be wearing his hat. This hat is kind of cool. So I just sculpt it and have him hold it out in front of him. And it also did help add to the ability of the sculpture to balance. So yeah, I just make him the little hat, which is a typical witch's hat, except it has like holes, like it has little pockets for his horns to go into, which is really cute. And I attach that on, and then I add the arms in a way that makes it look like he's holding the hat. So that was fun, and I had to like make it look like the arms are poking out from under the ears, which are hanging down over him. Like, I had to work out where they would fit with those. His hands are like smaller version of his feet, just 3-toed paws, and just stuck those on. I think it's super cute. I really like how it came out, and I think it does look like Ralsei. Ralsei? It's very possible that I have been pronouncing his name wrong through this entire video. But Ralsei? I don't know. The characters' names are spelt weirdly when you get past. You have like Susie, Chris, and someone smashing a keyboard. So yeah, that happened. I create this little base for him just by sticking pieces of cardboard together and then going around the edges of tissue. The tissue just helps hide all the holes from the cardboard and just makes everything look a lot cleaner without having to do 10,000 coats of really thick paint to try and like fill them all in with that. It's stuff the holes or whatever. I just use a thick layer of PVA and stick him on and just wait for it to dry. And I fill some of the gaps in with PVA. Gaps between pieces which are stuck together often look really messy, so it just helps to fill those in. Then I get onto painting. I'm actually using these paints which I had left over from like a ceramic painting video I did a couple weeks ago. So yeah. And I then just do the base colours are very simple. So it's just white for his fur, green for his clothes, basically. And like his hat and dress are the same colour. His feet are white because they're also his skin tone. His fur tone. And I use this like magenta colour for his scarf. Because that's the colour it is in the game, and this shade has a nice pop to it. Yeah, I just go over everything. The paints I'm using here are like this pink paint is just really cheap poster paint, so it will require a couple coats to get a good opacity going. Yeah. The paints I use are always really cheap, so I have to do like 10,000 coats. But it goes to show you don't need expensive paints to get a decent coverage. You just have to go over it more. I do the base in the same pink colour because I didn't want to do it green, but I still want, because so much of him is already green and it would make it more indistinct. But the pink, I wanted it to tie to the rest of the sculpt, and the pink fit with that. Sorry if you hear any sound in the background. It's pretty loud, but just ignore. It's just the microwave. I do his eyes, his little black dots. And then I start cutting out for his glasses. Which they're definitely a bit thicker rimmed than they probably should have ended up being. But they're just made out of pieces of cardboard, and yes, I did scrap what I just did and made bigger circles, but it was made in the exact same way, if you notice that. It's made in the exact same way, just slightly bigger, because I realised that with how thick the rim would have to be to hold its shape, it wouldn't really fit. If you have like a really thin floral wire or something, that could be better. Like you could shape it out of that, but I was just using cardboard because cardboard is cheap and it's what I have. And I paint that the same colour as his outfit. And then I use this watered down black paint, which I dab away with a tissue all over his cloak dress area to try and just deepen the shadows. At this point, I seal everything in with Mod Podge. This isn't going to be the final seal, but it helps save what I have almost. It's like hitting the save button on your like essay. It's just like I wanted to seal everything I've got here in place, so I don't end up like washing any more of my work away with the dry brushing and any other washes I did, because I was starting to notice that happen in places. So yeah. After I do a dry brushing and some more details, I go over it with an actual final seal, and this is how it comes out in the end. I think it is super cute and super cool. I really love him. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next week. Bye!